Hello, everyone. My name is Jordan Hansen, and I am here with council candidate Patrick Mcgeough.
Hello. How are you guys today?
Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
All right, nice. Yeah. Okay. So this is the third so far of the candidate interviews that I've done. Again, this is open to everyone. Anyone that's a candidate, reach out. I'm not reaching out to you. I'm trying to make it fair for everyone by the same way the first one happened. So I'm going to start with Pat. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself?
I've lived in Mitchell for about 15 years again now. Originally from White Lake, South Dakota, grew up and graduated from there. Have 5 kids, ranging in ages from 9 to 23. Have lived in Ward 4 for the last 10 years. And I guess that's about it. Anything else you want to know?
No, that's pretty much it. So I got a bunch of topics that we've been covering. And why don't we start with, I like this way. Let's start with the forum. Was there anything you didn't want to say, or not you didn't want to say, but is there anything you wanted to say that you didn't get a chance to say?
Not really. The only thing I regret as far as that goes is not doing a good enough job of kind of differentiating the difference between me and my opponent, Jason. And there's some pretty big differences on that front, I believe. And I will be happy to cover those a little bit more towards the end.
Okay, let's talk about, why don't you face me, not the camera. Forget that's even there.
All right.
And scoot this way a little bit just to get in frame. So, one question I wanted to ask everyone is, what do you think the number one reason, like Mitchell's often referred to as the slowest growing or whatever. What do you think, tell me about that. What do you think is the issue, or what can we do to improve it?
I think ways that we can improve it are to figure out what some of the other cities that are growing are doing and copy them.
Right.
As you know, some of the best ways to find success is to find successful people and study them and figure out kind of what they've done to become successful and copy that. And I think that that's something that we should do in regards to becoming a more faster growing city.
Yeah. And my opinion, and this is mostly about you, but I wondered if they don't just listen to their people constantly, and that's what works out great.
I mean, it can't hurt, right?
I totally agree with that.
The more you listen to the people that you're supposed to represent, theoretically, the more ideas you have, which means it's easier to pick out good ideas, I think. So.
And, I'm a little bit of a hippie in the regards of, I think if you put out good energy into the world and good vibes and all that stuff, I think that reverberates through everybody, you know what I mean? If you have a lot of people that are frustrated in town, you're going to feel that energy. But if people are happy and they feel like they're heard and things are going the way they want, I think things will go good.
I totally agree with that. I think you attract like energy, and I think energy is really important, actually. I think it's underrated.
Yeah.
And so I totally agree with that 100%. I think I don't know the exact solution, but I know if we start studying the other cities, especially the Sioux Fallses and the places that are really growing fast, and try to take some bits and pieces from what they do, I think that can only be beneficial to us and the citizens of Mitchell.
So let's talk about, if we're going to talk about other cities, a lot of other cities have indoor sports facilities, and that's come up a lot lately.
Yep.
What's your opinion on that?
Oh, totally for it.
Yep.
I think the winter time is very, very difficult for the residents of Mitchell. I don't think there's enough to do. I think that there's been more recently. Obviously, we have some more basketball leagues and stuff like that in town. Mitchell Wrestling, I think, is kind of getting back to a point where it's starting to grow again. I think for a long time there, it was losing numbers. I think we're probably getting back on track there. Obviously, we have hockey and stuff like that. But all of those are like paid activities, basically. I think we need to figure out some ways to have just more activities for small children in town, especially during the winter months. We just get cooped up, even though the last couple of winters haven't been that cold and full of snow and stuff like that. It's almost actually worse when you don't have the snow, because then the kids can't go outside and do the sled hill or anything like that. So, I totally in favor of the indoor sports facility, because I'd like to attract some major tournaments and stuff like that in the winter as well. I'd love to see the state basketball tournament come back to Mitchell, and just some other activities like that. I think a rock climbing wall or a couple of those, stuff like that, is just anything that we can bring to the city of Mitchell to help keep people active is going to be beneficial.
So when you say, because everyone's kind of got a different idea of what the sports facility would be like, would you like it to be more like attract like visitors like for tournaments? Would you rather have it for the, just indoor activities, or what's your vision of that?
I definitely want to be able to attract tournaments. I think that that's crucial. because I think that gives us a better shot at attracting permanent residents as well. When people come to visit and see how great the town is, and then they see this wonderful indoor facility, it could spark a little trigger in their mind to say, hey, this could be a really great place to live. We're only 45 minutes from the biggest city in South Dakota. We can travel there if we have other needs that can't be addressed by any of the retail shops in Mitchell here. So I think it needs to be as multifunctional as possible. What exactly that looks like, I haven't really dug into any plans or anything like that. So
you think turf? You think, what are you hearing from people? Because I think like softball, baseball, football are like the three things that cannot be serviced at all in our town during the winter.
Yeah, I definitely think turf is the right way to go as far as that goes. So
yeah, and I've seen some spots where you can roll it up or it comes out in whatever, and I don't know if that works.
Yeah, I'd love to look at a bunch of different proposals and pick the best one for the citizens of Mitchell for sure.
So the Corn Palace, what's your thoughts on that?
I think I mentioned it a little bit at the forum the other night. It's an institution in the city. It certainly drives traffic. It's one of the reasons people, especially in the summer, come to Mitchell. And from that perspective, it's great. It's never going to make us money. It's always going to cost money. And that's okay as long as it doesn't become overbearing in terms of cost, and as long as it keeps doing a good job of attracting people to Mitchell, I think that's fine. Obviously, continue to have DW games and stuff like that there. We need to use it for what it is, but I don't think that we can continue to put money into it.
As far as expanding, or are you talking as maintenance?
Definitely as far as expanding. We have to maintain it to a certain extent, but I don't see any reason to expand it at all. I don't think that it justifies what the cost would be or the ongoing maintenance cost of expanding it as well.
Right. So. Let's talk about business.
Sure.
What's your opinions on how we get business here? How have we done? What should we do in the future? Or is it even our job?
I think it's our job. I think it's definitely our job to have a say in it as city council or city council candidates. Have we done a good enough job? It's hard to say because there have been some successes and there have been some failures, like Adamo's just closed recently.
They did?
I think so.
The Italian restaurant?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that.
I'm pretty sure that's no longer operaing. At least that's the rumor I've heard around town. So,
okay. Well, let's fact check. I have not heard that, but
I'm hoping to be wrong on that one. I think we're doing a decent job. I do think that we can do a better job. I do think that the city council has to have some oversight and some say in that. I don't think it should be their specific job.
Okay.
But I think that, having some input on that is certainly important and definitely a role that the city council should have. I think we can always do a better job of attracting more businesses, and I think we should. And I think that those businesses need to be, if possible, businesses that pay a more than living wage. We're talking, $25 to $30 an hour would be really nice. More of those type of jobs coming into town, and businesses offering those kind of jobs coming into town would really, really help out the citizens of Mitchell. It's going to help home ownership. It's going to help city income taxes or city sales taxes. It's just going to make Mitchell a more robust economy, and I think that that's good for everybody.
Everything becomes more affordable when you have more money.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about. I just got. Oh, you said something about housing. Let's talk about that. You're in real estate a little bit, so
yeah. I think I talked about this the other night too. I've been looking at a couple of properties over in Sioux Falls. I think that that's a really great opportunity in that market right now. And I think one of the things that they do is they either offer deferred interest loans for homeowners that want to make some repairs on either some rentals or their personal home. I think that would be great. Or if there are some other like tax deferred options that we can use to help primarily young people, I think from like 25 to 40, if we can figure out ways to get that age group into home ownership faster, that's going to make a really big difference in a lot of people's lives.
So maybe you don't know, but the chamber does offer something it's very similar to what you're talking about, where you can get a certain amount of dollars to improve your house. If you keep it for such a long period of time, 3-5 years, I don't remember, it's like a forgivable loan.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
And then one thing that my staff at the city and I kind of push through is they call it a discretionary formula. Most people don't know this because it's boring.
Yeah.
But let's say your house worth $100,000, you do $100,000 worth of repairs. Usually, you would pay your property tax on the full $200,000 when it's done. But this way, it goes every year. I think is 20%. So it gradually gets you into the property tax. So you're not like penalized for doing a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of a cool deal. Most people don't know about that. I don't know if anyone's ever going to use it, but it's kind of interesting, huh?
It is super interesting, and I think that more people should know about it. And we have to figure out as a city council better ways to make information like that more public and get that in front of more people so that they can take advantage of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because obviously, like I said, that just getting into home ownership as early as possible is going to be so crucial on your path towards long-term success and making your family more comfortable. It's just so important.
Yeah, having a house is a great way to offset inflation, especially in the housing. I bought my first house when I was 24, 25, something like that. And it was a push, man. I mean, it was a stretch.
It's tough.
It was a stretch, but I'd rather be stretched when I'm that young than when I'm older.
Exactly. Well, and the benefits on the back end with the building equity and stuff like that is not something that a lot of people are aware of, especially 25, 26, even 30. Younger groups, and a lot of the younger groups, unfortunately, have really just written off home ownership up until a certain age. They don't even consider it anymore, and that's something, as a country, we obviously have to do better, but certainly as the city of Mitchell, I think we can do a better job of letting people know that we have some options to help them out and make the path to home ownership easier and more affordable for them so that they can start reaping some of the benefits of home ownership a little bit farther down the road.
It's Sunday morning, so I'm drinking coffee, everyone. What do
I
you
had 2 cups already, so I'm good.
What do you think of, like, are we focusing too much on housing? Do you think we have enough? I mean, other than the affordability factor, I mean, should we be putting tons of effort into adding more housing stock?
I don't have the exact numbers in front of me or off the top of my head. Maybe you have a better handle on it. I feel like we've added a lot of units of housing over the last 5 years for sure.
I think it's over 250 apartment units.
Yeah.
And I think it's an average of somewhere between 20 and 30. I pulled the building permits a couple weeks ago for houses. So 20 to 30 homes, I think. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Maybe that was total over 5 years.
So if we figure like on average, each of those are 2 bedrooms, let's just say. So we're talking about like what, 250 additional homes or almost 500 additional beds.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. So I think we're doing a pretty good job. I don't want to say we're focusing on it too much. I think the key part that you mentioned was the affordability part of it.
Yep.
And I know the homes that are going up right behind my house out on Ullman are $240,000 homes.
Right.
And they're being touted as affordable housing. Well, if you figure the payment on that with little to no money down, you're talking $2,000 a month probably.
Right.
That's not affordable for most people. So I think that there's a big gap between the homes that we're building and the actual affordability part of it.
Yeah.
And to close that gap somehow is going to be a very crucial part of the equation. And I don't have all the answers for that, but
I can tell you as in building, I've never built a new other than the house, but I mean, it's really hard to bring the value of or the price point of a house brand new down. It's almost impossible.
It is.
Builders have squeezed everything that can be squeezed.
Well, and that's the thing. There's a term called replacement costs, which is what would it cost to replace the building that you have now with something brand new, and that gets factored into the equation as well. And the replacement costs are so high because of what you said, because everything's gone up 30%. I think I read something that housing in Mitchell has gone up. The price of houses has gone up 30% in Mitchell since 2020. That just due to inflation through COVID and stuff like that. That's an insane number. It's certainly not sustainable, and it's certainly not making it any easier for people to get into homes, new homes, first-time home buyers, stuff like that. So we've got to figure out a way without crashing the local housing market to get more people into actually affordable homes. And that's going to be a big challenge for us because we have so many jobs in Mitchell that aren't necessarily those $40, $50, $60 an hour jobs or $70, $80 $1,000 a year salaries. So there's a big gap there that we have to figure out how to address.
So let's talk about jobs again. Another let's just say it, not a popular subject was the prison.
Yeah.
I got yelled at more for anything than the prison deal.
Yeah.
But totally rightful. I mean, we're here to listen to the people.
Absolutely.
And do what they want.
Absolutely.
And for me, it was like a 10-1. We don't want it versus we like it. I do see the benefits of it.
Yeah.
400 jobs or whatever the case was.
sure.
I don't know if we even had a chance. I mean, let's get real. I'm not sure that we ever actually had a chance because it was outside all of their parameters.
Right.
But let's talk about if it was real. Tell me about what your thoughts were.
It's going to be an unpopular opinion based on the feedback that you just said that you were getting, but I think I was for it. I think it's just another piece of the puzzle to bring more higher paying jobs to the city of Mitchell that we desperately need. On the current trajectory, people can't sustain $15, $16, $17 an hour jobs and live, especially as now inflation again is spiking. We're up around 3.5%, 4%.
Yep.
The price of everything just keeps going up and wages are not keeping up with inflation, although productivity has soared past inflation. So we're facing some real struggles in terms of affordability in Mitchell. And I think that turning away 400 high-paying jobs is not necessarily the right way to close any of those gaps that we're talking about.
That's a fair point. Isn't it fun not always agreeing on everything?
It is.
So, okay, let's think. What else have I missed? Let's talk about the lake. That's kind of an easy one, but very important one.
Yeah.
That's your ward.
It is my ward, and all of the feedback I'm getting is nobody's happy with what's going on with the lake. Everybody I talk to is, like I said the other night, it's either the first question or the second question, and the first question is, where do you stand on it? And where I've always stood on it was, I just want to get it right, whatever that looks like. Now, on top of that, I'd like to get it right for as little cost as possible.
Right.
And one of my frustrations with the process that we had previously is, first of all, I always thought it was funny that we had a mayor that was an engineer that hired an engineering firm to take a look at what to do with the lake and didn't really look at anybody else.
Right.
That, to me, just sends off some red flags. I always was a big proponent of your idea. I always thought, at the very least, let's take a section of the lake and try something else and see what we can accomplish just by trying some different things. Okay?
Yep.
Maybe it's going to work. Maybe it's not going to work.
At least we'll know.
At least we'll know.
Yep.
And it could have been potentially a solution that would have saved us, I don't know,
10, 15 million
several million dollars,
Yep.
which is obviously good for the city and good for the residents of Mitchell. And if it didn't work, at least you know. But I also thought the fact that we only ever had the one engineering firm looking at the project and not several, again, just sends off some red flags.
Yeah.
So, but
Technically, I'll interject here. So technically, we had two engineering firms, but they were assigned to look at. You need to do this. It even says in the studies, which nobody has read on Earth except for me. I feel like
Right.
It says the city has told us they want to do mechanical dredging, and that's what we need to look at. I used to know what page number it was.
So it was a mandate, basically, from the city to do the dredging. There were no other options really even being considered.
Well, so what they did was they kind of said, here's your options. It was mechanical dredging, it was hydraulic dredging, it was a couple other things, none of the biological stuff, right? But those are always, this is the top two biggest things that people do.
Right.
And then at some point, the city decided, hey, you need to do mechanical dredging.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I remember it's when you open the study, it's on the left page on the bottom.
Sure.
I just remember reading that and it's burned into my mind forever.
Yeah.
And at one point that was like, hey, this is what we're doing.
I mean, so I'm not an engineer. I'm not a.
It's pretty simple, right? It's the simplest plan you could ever explain to anyone. Drain, scrape, fill, clean.
Right. But is it going to be effective?
I sure hope it is.
That's what, like I said the other night, we sure had better deliver for the citizens of Mitchell, especially the citizens around the lake, because nobody's happy with it. Almost everybody I talk to is against it. They don't want it drained. They feel like it's going to take 10 years to get back to where it is, which, I live on a little portion right by the lake where we have one of those little bays that can get pretty nasty in the summer, okay, especially when it gets really hot, okay? But I've also been out in the middle of the lake in the middle of the summer when it's been really hot, and I'm not going to say it's perfect, but it's a lake.
Yeah.
You know, like you expect algae and some stuff like that to be in a lake, especially man-made. There's nothing you can do about that. Every lake that I've ever been in or been on is going to have some of that kind of stuff. So I think if the citizens of Mitchell have this idea that we're going to have this perfectly crystal clear lake with, like, you can see all the way down to the bottom and the fish can talk to you when you're trying to catch them and stuff like that. I think if that's what people are envisioning, then they're going to obviously always be disappointed because it's never going to be that way. So I think managing people's expectations on the lake is important as well.
For sure, yeah.
Then I have some questions about some other stuff. Like, I didn't know until I was reading about the lake process, I didn't know that Poet takes water out of the lake and replaces water.
They don't replace it.
They don't replace it. They just take the water out?
Yep, and they use it for their like ethanol cleaning. 500,000 gallons a
So I honestly thought that they were replacing it with like the water that they were using. And so one of my questions is, well, how is that isn't that kicking stuff up off of the bottom of the lake?
So what they do, so they take a ton of water. Well, eventually that line gets dirty, and then what they they purge it.
Okay.
So and it only lasts, I don't know. It's really crazy when you see it over on the west end.
Sure.
But then they force all that stuff back just to clean the line, and then it bubbles up.
Okay.
And then, it lasts like maybe a minute or less,
Sure.
if I remember correctly.
Okay.
And then that's it.
Okay.
But they don't like recycle all that. The water gets converted to steam, and that's why you see everything coming up there.
Yeah. Okay.
So they never return anything.
All right. Well, that's good to know because that was a concern that I had.
Yeah.
But to come back to it, most of the residents of my ward are not happy. They're definitely feeling like
they're not happy one way or another. One, they're mad that it's getting done, and some people are mad that it's not getting done fast enough.
Yeah, that's very true. But most of the people are really in my ward are really just upset, and they don't want it to happen at all.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I would have expected the opposite.
No, most people that I talk to are just completely against it. They don't think it's going to be effective. They think we're throwing whatever it is, $50 million away, or I'm not exactly sure what the cost of it is.
25 is the total project. If you count
Allegedly.
interest, it's 50.
Yeah. So
we never count interest, so I can understand.
Why would you?
Yeah. Well, I sure hope it works.
Definitely the citizens of my ward are heavily invested in it, and we just better deliver. People better be happy with the end result. And if they are, I don't think that there's going to be any hard feelings, but I think if we're looking at, if 5 to 10 years after the project is done, if there's some pockets of dirty lake, I think people are going to be upset. Whether that's right or not, I don't think matters. I think that they're going to be upset because they were promised a certain outcome. And the other part of the frustration that people have is this has been, a 10 to 15-year process from the beginning of it?
Been longer. It depends on where you... There's a study from 1997 that was like the first real study that I remember where they're like, we need to look at this. So it's been 20 years for sure.
1997 is a great year.
Yeah.
30 years.
What? Oh, 30 years. Yeah. Man, my math is bad. It's Sunday morning. I've only got one cup of coffee. So, but from the time they actually took like a serious look, like, hey, we're doing something, it's probably been like mid 2010s.
Yeah.
12, 16, something like that.
I think people have decision fatigue on that. I think people are just tired of it, and to a certain extent, I think people are ready to have the solution. So people are resigned to what's going on. But I've had more than 10 people tell me, is there anything you can do to stop this project? And I'm like, I don't think so. I mean, the people voted on it. One of the things that Jordan said when he was elected was, whatever happens with the lake, yes or no, we're going to follow the will of the people. I totally agree with that. And so I just say that we better deliver on it. It better be up to people's standards. And people, the other part of that is when it's done, people get out and enjoy it. Okay.
Yeah.
Because again, we're spending, I think you just heard the numbers, $25 to $50 million on that thing. So once it's done, you guys better get out there and enjoy it. There better be people at Sandy Beach out there swimming in the summer. And really enjoying it and taking advantage of it.
I just heard someone tell me yesterday they were out on the boat, and they were the only people on the boat on the lake on Memorial Saturday. And there's not a single person on the beach.
That's crazy. Yeah, I haven't seen...
People are terrified of it.
I haven't seen people on the beach. I've lived out there, and we used to have a boat. I've not seen people on Sandy Beach in at least 5 years. It's probably been the full 10 that I've been out there. I've almost never seen any... And as a little kid, I can very vividly remember spending a lot of time on Sandy Beach.
Yep.
So that's something we've got to rectify.
I think fixing that lake will go a long ways. I don't know what the complete answer is. It sounds like we're doing one part. I still am a firm believer that we need some sort of movement into that lake.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't care what body of water it is. If it's completely still all the time.
Yeah, no, that doesn't work.
It just doesn't work.
It does not work. I agree with that 100%. Because if you think about,
take a bucket of clean water from your faucet and go put it outside in your driveway.
Right.
It's going to get algae.
Well, I was just going to say, fill up your bathtub and just let it sit for 24 hours even, and take a look at it the next day, and it's not going to look the same as it did when you just put the water in it. So
movement.
Yeah, exactly.
Same for your body. You got to stay active.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about something other than the lake. What else have we missed? Do you want to talk about anything? I'm trying to think of what else.
Nothing really. Other than just the big difference between me and my opponent, and I know Jason, and I don't have anything against him. He seems like a nice guy. But for the citizens of Mitchell, if you're looking for somebody that has a little bit of a different perspective, somebody who's been through some different stuff, has different life experiences, somebody who's not as well funded by certain groups, then I'm the candidate for you in Ward 4. My story is very unique. I grew up in a single parent family, so I think that gives me a very unique perspective. I'm not sure that there are any other city council members that grew up in a single parent family. I think that that's an important piece of my life experience that allows me to see life through a different lens. And so I think that gives me the opportunity to represent the regular people. Regular people a little better, but just people that haven't had. Jason's path was just a little different than a lot of people. He went right to college, out of high school, on a scholarship, went and did some very cool things, and that's not what my life experience is. And I think that gives me a very different perspective than what he's had. The other part of it is I've been back in Mitchell for 15 years now. I'm not sure how long Jason's been back. A couple of years, maybe.
I'm not sure.
I mean, and again, that's nothing against Jason. I just think that, he spent most of his time in Sioux Falls the last 10 years or so, and then came back. And I just, he's kind of coming back and acting, shouldn't say acting, but he wants to represent people that he hasn't really been here around for a long time, and I want to represent people. I've been here for the last 15 years of my life. I've built some businesses. I've done some things. I've made a lot of mistakes at the same time. And I really just think that if you're looking for somebody who isn't the Chamber of Commerce desired candidate, then I think that you have a home in me. And certainly if you have questions that I've never addressed, feel free to reach out. 605-999-8065 is my phone number. If you want to text me or call me, you can certainly reach out on Facebook Messenger. I've had several people do that already. But I am just a much more grounded, regular guy type of candidate than Jason is. And again, Jason, that's no offense. I'm not mad at you, and I'm not trying to cast aspersions or anything like that. I just think I'm a very different type of candidate than you are. And I think that I'm able to represent the regular citizens of Mitchell a little bit better than he is.
That was very good.
Thanks.
While you were saying that, I think it's funny is we have had probably some of the most crazy political differences of all time. But it's really cool because, I think if we elevate 2 levels of government, we're probably nowhere near, you know what I mean? So I just think that's cool, you know what I mean, as far as like a local government.
I agree with that.
Where we completely disagree on a lot of topics.
So many things. So many things. And it's, I've certainly toned down my Facebook rhetoric over the years by necessity, but I'm still very passionate about a lot of the same things that I've always been passionate about, and affordability is a big part of that. And how can local governments help people, and what is the role of government in general? And we might disagree on some of that stuff as well. So I just think that I'm kind of the outsider candidate for Ward 4. If you look at where the signs are and stuff around town, or even the size and the scope of signs, you can tell that I'm the little guy candidate, and I want to represent the little guy. I want a lot of, like Sarah. I love what Sarah says about being a true representative for her ward and bringing in people that don't always have a seat at the table and don't feel like they're heard. That's the kind of candidate I want to be for Ward 4. I'm really looking forward to working with you more, working with other members of the council as well that I don't know as well, to help the city of Mitchell as much as possible. And I'm really passionate about the city of Mitchell. I haven't always been that way, but I just think that it's such a great place to live. It's such a great place to raise a family. There are so many benefits that the city of Mitchell brings to people just by living here, and it's just such a great community that I just want to enhance it and make it better in every way that I can. And I'm really excited by the challenges that the council has. And again, really excited to work with all the different council members on all the different projects and continue to learn more about the process and just do a great job for the city of Mitchell. And that's what I'm passionate about.
That was good.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, that was good. It's nice to see because we've known each other for quite a long time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
totally different paths, so it's just neat.
It is totally different paths, but I love the way that, first of all, I love the way that I love your energy. I love the way that you want to help anybody and everybody. If you guys don't know Mr. Mayor here, he is one of the most giving people I've ever met. He's one of the most positive people I've ever met. Any way that he can help you with ideas or execution, or if you just want to call him and have a conversation with him about stuff that you've got going on, he always answers his phone. He's very easy to get along with. He's again, I know that Mike Bathke talked the other night about how great of a mayor Paul Tenhaken is over in Sioux Falls. I can't
wait till he's done being mayor because then I can move up a notch because he is awesome.
I've met him.
That guy is awesome.
I've met him and he's great.
Me too. He's an awesome dude.
And you guys have very similar energy, and you guys kind of seems like you have the same goals in life and the same things that you're trying to accomplish. And I think we have one of the 5 best mayors in the state of South Dakota, and I think that it's a shame that certain members of the council push back so much on the stuff that you're trying to accomplish. And I'm looking forward to being able to work with you to bring more of your ideas to the forefront and executed for the city of Mitchell, because everything I see you doing is beneficial. So
I appreciate that, man.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I use a lot of analogies. Football and cars, like driving. I don't watch football, but the analogies are great for business.
Sure.
The second one is cars. You ever driving and someone's in the left lane and you want to pass, but you can't because they're just sitting there like that. It's
yeah.
Like, please, dude, just for a second, let me run, baby.
Yeah.
Like I can, you know what I mean? Yeah. I just want to go.
Yeah.
Just don't hold me back.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna do anything wrong.
Right.
But just don't hold me back.
Yeah.
And sometimes I feel like that.
I see it, and I agree with you. I don't know I don't know why. I don't know why there's such pushback, because if just look around at your projects.
Everyone's got their own views of what they think is right.
That's fair. And certainly the older generation has a hard time kind of letting go of control. And I think that's a big part of it. They just want to kind of keep their thumb on you a little bit. And I want to help you run, man. I'm here to see. I want us to get to 20,000 people. I don't know how much longer you're going to run. If term limits get voted
let's talk about term limits. That's
Sure.
one thing we forgot.
Yeah.
We're running pretty long, but let's wrap up with term limits.
We'll wrap up with term limits. Again, I will say it at every single level of government. I think we need term limits. I think that we need new ideas. I could not possibly be any more strongly in favor of term limits. I think it has to happen at every level of government.
What do you see for the downsides? I always like to challenge the opposite of what you think.
The only downsides really to me are I guess you don't have as much experience, but the constant influx of new ideas. I don't really see a lot of downsides to term limits. I guess I got to be honest. You do lose a little bit of institutional knowledge, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's enough to negate the constant influx of new ideas and fresh young blood, and just different perspectives. And I think that's the real big key: as many different perspectives as we can get in these roles, especially local government, the better for everybody.
I agree. Yeah. I don't think we need institutional knowledge. If you're open and communicative and very transparent with the public, I think your knowledge should get passed on to the people.
And I think
super simple.
I think institutional knowledge can be overrated in that you might know what you know, but how much are you continuing to learn? And I think that being a continuous learner is more important than what you knew before.
I agree. I remember when I was young, I was a little fiery, a little firecracker, you know what I mean? Because I had all this energy and people would be like,
Yeah.
I'd be on the job site, like, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'd be like, well, you've been doing it wrong for 30 years. It's just listen to me for a second. Let me show you something.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, you could see how that would potentially rub people the wrong way.
For sure. Now that I'm a little bit older, like really young kids, 17, 18, will tell me I'm being dumb. I'm like, what do you know? And then I remember, well, wait a minute. I've been that kid.
Right.
Like, go ahead and tell me, because I know exactly what you feel like. And often I'm wrong about what I thought because I've been doing it forever.
Right.
You know what I mean? And being able to admit when you're wrong,
I was just going to say that,
is one of the most important aspects of being a leader or even a human at all. Like, you're right, I'm wrong. Let's move on. Let's do the best idea, no matter whose idea it was. Nobody needs credit. I don't remember who said it, but they said, it's crazy how much stuff you can get done when you don't care who gets credit for it.
that is a fact. And I think that as a society, we have a warped view of failure or making mistakes. So many people get down on themselves for making mistakes or get critical for failures and stuff like that. I've come to believe that every failure is an opportunity to learn and grow and get better. And so making mistakes is okay as long as they're not repeated over and over and over and you actually learn from them. So,
you know, this may not be, I don't even know if anyone's going to watch the rest of this video, but you know, one interesting thing I think about is schooling a lot. Like, I never went to college. I went straight to the workforce afterwards. I did not do great in school. I mean, I did okay, I passed and whatever, but I was just such a different attitude.
Sure.
But like, I call it the homework theory, which I don't know if it's true or not, but like, when someone gave me homework, I'm like, why do I have to do this? It doesn't make any sense. I already know the material. But other people, it's like, whatever's put in front of them, they just do the work. They just do the work. They just do the work.
Right.
And you know, as they graduate and go to college, same thing. They just do the work. They just do the work. They do the work. And then as they graduate there and go to the workforce, they just do the work, do the work, do the work. And it just doesn't work for me. Like, I need to set my own goals, do the own thing. And everyone's different, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's just interesting I mean, you're in school for 12 to 16 years.
Yeah.
Like that, obviously those patterns are ingrained in you.
Yeah, and it's some nature versus nurture. It sounds like you were probably just born that way.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And that's an interesting thing too. But I totally agree with you. Some people are just born to be workers, and some people are born for more, and won't. The people that are born for more and won't accept anything less are definitely the people you want in leadership positions, and definitely the people you want to surround yourself with for personal growth, for sure. So.
And now we're just talking, but whatever. We're probably talking too much. But you know, one interesting thing, I always used to have this conversation because I've done a lot of commission jobs, and I remember talking to people like, "Isn't commission awesome? 1 month you can get paid 10 grand, and 1 month you can make nothing. Isn't that exciting?" And people, are like, no, that's not exciting. I want the same paycheck every 2 weeks.
Yeah, my wife really likes that regular paycheck, but I love commission work.
Yeah, me too. It's way more exciting.
It is. You're totally in control of you eat what you kill is one way to talk about it, but you're totally in control of your own destiny.
It's so much more fun.
It's way more fun. It certainly makes life a lot more interesting.
Yes, it does.
That's not always good, but it's a great way to live.
Well, okay. I think we covered everything. I'm trying to think of all the other topics to make it fair with all the other people. Is there anything you missed? Anything else you want to say?
I don't think so. Again, just Mitchell Residence Award for if you're looking for a different perspective, if you're looking for different ideas, if you're looking for a different type of representative, vote for McGeough, Ward 4, June 2nd. Please come out and vote. Biggest thing, don't complain. You can't complain if you don't vote. We've got 9 days before the election.
I'm not
something
counting.
like that.
Yeah, I'm not counting.
June 2nd. So just get out and vote. If you haven't registered yet, you'll have next week to do that. Get out and vote.